Have you ever wondered if living alone in your later years could be the key to unlocking the most fulfilling chapter of your life? Many older men, just like you, have found that solo living isn't just about solitude. It's about embracing freedom, rediscovering passions, and experiencing true peace. But what if I told you that living alone could improve your mental health, deepen your relationships, and even empower you to grow in ways you never thought possible? In this video, I'm diving deep into the emotional and practical benefits of living alone as an older man. From the freedom to be yourself, to the quiet tranquility that gives you space to think and reflect, I'll share how living solo can positively impact your life in ways you may not have considered before. You'll also learn how living alone can provide a chance for personal growth and self-discovery, offering you the time and space to reconnect with yourself. Imagine having full control over your environment, curating your home to reflect your unique style without compromise. We'll talk about the financial independence that comes with living alone and how it might help you save more money and pursue your passions. But that's not all. This video will also explore how solitude can significantly boost your mental health, allowing you to focus on what truly makes you happy. You'll hear real-life stories from others who have found peace, confidence, and a deeper connection to themselves through the simple act of living alone. By the end of this video, you'll understand why living alone might be the best decision you could make in your later years. So, stick around, because the wisdom, inspiration, and practical advice you'll find here could very well change the way you approach the next chapter of your life. Let's dive in. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Freedom to be yourself. As we age, the freedom that comes with living alone is undeniably one of the most profound joys, especially for older men. There is a unique, indescribable peace that washes over you when you wake up to an empty house, and it's just you. No one else to please, no one else to accommodate. You are the master of your time, your day, your choices. There's an incredible sense of autonomy that comes from living on your own. When you have no one else's expectations looming over you, you have the liberty to design your day exactly how you want it, from the first moment you open your eyes to when your head hits the pillow at night. There's no negotiating your needs with anyone, no having to make compromises that leave you feeling drained. I remember vividly the first time I embraced the solitude of living alone. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. There was something so liberating in the simplicity of it all. Waking up when I wanted, making my coffee exactly how I liked it, and enjoying the rare luxury of quiet mornings where I could sink into a book or spend hours absorbed in a hobby without the nagging interruptions of someone else's plans. It was like rediscovering a part of myself that I had buried under the demands of family and work for so many years. One story that resonates with me is about a man in his early 60s, who found a deep sense of purpose and joy through his art after embracing living alone. Before, he never had the time or space to explore his creative side fully, but living alone allowed him to set up a small art studio right in his living room. With no one around, he could paint late into the night, letting his creativity flow uninterrupted. He said something that struck a chord with me. Living alone gave me back my nights, those hours when I could be truly myself, diving deep into my art, something I never could have done with others around. For me, the beauty of living alone is not just about the freedom to do what I please, but the freedom to explore my passions without fear of judgment or restraint. Whether it's picking up a paintbrush, reading an entire novel in one sitting, or simply sitting in stillness, it's all about being true to myself. Living alone gives you that chance to rediscover forgotten dreams, reignite old hobbies, and most importantly, reclaim the joy of simply being who you are, unapologetically. In a world that often expects us to meet everyone else's needs, there is something deeply fulfilling about having the space to put yourself first, for once. 2. Peace. There's something profoundly comforting about the peace that comes with living alone, a gift that many older men deeply cherish. After years of raising children, balancing demanding careers, and constantly being pulled in 1,000 directions by family and responsibilities, the solitude of a quiet home feels like a long-awaited refuge. For those who have spent most of their lives caught up in the chaos of a bustling household, there is an undeniable sense of liberation in the stillness. It's not just the absence of noise, it's the chance to reconnect with yourself, take a deep breath, and finally exhale in peace. I can still vividly recall the first time I truly experienced the profound silence that comes with living alone. It was a quiet Sunday morning, the world outside still in its slumber, as though time itself had paused. I brewed a fresh cup of coffee, the rich aroma filling the room, and sat by the window, watching the soft light of the early morning filter through the trees. The only sound I could hear was the gentle rustle of the leaves, the birds softly chirping in the distance, and the occasional whisper of wind. It was as if the universe was speaking in whispers just for me, reminding me that this moment, this tranquil moment, was mine and mine alone. In that stillness, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over me. A kind of peace that can only be felt when no one is there to demand your attention, when there's no one to please or take care of. It was at that moment that I realized how rare and precious this kind of quiet truly is. The silence wasn't just a void, it was a space where I could find myself again. Can you imagine waking up every morning to this kind of tranquility? Picture yourself sipping coffee on your balcony, gazing at the garden, with no rush to check emails, no noise from the TV, and no conversations pulling you in different directions. It's a time just for you, a moment to breathe, to be, to reconnect with your thoughts and your soul. In this sanctuary of silence, you are free to reflect, to meditate, or simply to be still. And it's in these quiet moments that you often find the clarity and connection to yourself that can be so elusive in a busy world. For me, it's not just about the absence of noise. It's about creating a space where I can hear my thoughts again, without interruption. It's the gentle reminder that life's simplest moments, like savoring a warm cup of coffee or watching the sun rise over the horizon, hold beauty and richness that often goes unnoticed in the rush of everyday life. And I truly believe that in these peaceful moments, we can rediscover the depth of our thoughts and the richness of our own lives. Living alone in its quietude becomes not just a necessity, but a gift, a precious time to truly be with oneself, to listen, reflect, and appreciate the profound beauty of life's simplest joys. 3. Personal growth and self-discovery. Living alone as an older man isn't just about solitude. It's a profound opportunity for deep, transformative personal growth and self-discovery. It can feel daunting at first, this vast emptiness of space, the silence that wraps around you when the world falls away. But with time, you begin to realize that in this quiet, there is something beautiful and life-changing. You have all the time you need to reflect, to sit with your thoughts and feelings, and, perhaps for the first time in decades, to truly listen to your inner voice. There are no distractions, no roles to play, no responsibilities pulling you in different directions. It's just you. And that's where the magic happens. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I'll never forget the turning point in my journey. 4 years, the noise of everyday life, the demands of work and family, drowned out any sense of clarity about what I truly wanted. I was so caught up in fulfilling the expectations of others that I lost touch with who I was. But when I started living alone, something miraculous occurred. It was as though the clutter in my mind began to clear. The quiet evenings, and the peaceful solitude of weekends, all became a canvas for introspection. I finally had the space to look inward, to ask myself questions that had been buried for far too long. What do I want for myself now? What brings me joy? What did I give up along the way that I can reclaim? I remember one particular evening, sitting in my favorite chair by the window, watching the sunset in a burst of oranges and pinks. It was in that stillness, that perfect moment of solitude, that I began to rediscover my love for writing. I dusted off an old journal, one that had been buried in a drawer for years, and began to write. The words flowed effortlessly, more fluidly than they had in my youth. I realized how much I had missed this outlet for my thoughts and dreams. It was in those pages that I found pieces of myself that I thought were long gone. Passions, ambitions, and even a spark of hope that had been overshadowed by life's burdens. One story that particularly resonates with me comes from a man I read about on a forum. In his late 50s, after a long career and the dissolution of his marriage, he found himself isolated, yet inexplicably free. He moved to a small cabin by the lake, surrounded by nature, and began the process of rediscovery. With nothing but his thoughts for company, he turned to journaling, reading philosophy, and meditating. Through the stillness of his environment, he began to peel away the layers of societal expectations and the pressures of his past life, and connect with the man he had long forgotten. It was in this solitude that he found himself again, unburdened by the weight of others' opinions or life's obligations. His transformation is a powerful reminder of how deeply we can reconnect with ourselves when we give ourselves the gift of space and silence. Living alone isn't always easy. There are moments of loneliness, moments when doubt creeps in. But those moments are fleeting, and they give way to a sense of peace and clarity that is impossible to find when surrounded by chaos. This solitude is one of the most precious gifts you can give yourself in your later years. It's an invitation to rediscover your dreams, to reconnect with your deepest passions, and to live the life that truly belongs to you. There's a quiet strength that comes from living alone, a strength rooted in the deep understanding that you are enough, just as you are. And that, my friend, is a truly powerful realization. 4. Control over your environment. Living alone provides a profound sense of autonomy, a freedom that so many of us crave, especially as we grow older. When you have a space all to yourself, you can shape it exactly as you envision it, free from the opinions or preferences of others. There's something incredibly liberating about being able to keep your surroundings exactly how you want them. Whether you're someone who enjoys the calm serenity of a perfectly tidy home or someone who finds comfort in a cozy, cluttered environment, the power lies entirely in your hands. You have the liberty to arrange your furniture, hang your pictures, or scatter your belongings in a way that truly resonates with who you are. Your living space becomes a mirror, reflecting your personality, your passions, and your journey, without having to explain yourself to anyone. I think back to a dear friend of mine, a man whose life took a sudden turn after his divorce. He moved into a small, charming house nestled in the countryside. The house itself was humble, but the freedom it gave him was priceless. You see, he had always been an avid collector of vintage cameras, something his wife never truly understood or appreciated. Now, living on his own, he finally had the chance to turn his obsession into a source of pride. He took one of the spare rooms in his home and turned it into a personal gallery for his cameras. It wasn't just about the cameras themselves, though. It was about the pure joy he felt each time he walked into that room. That space had become an expression of his essence, a place that carried not only the weight of his past passion, but also the sweet, quiet contentment that comes from owning something so deeply personal. Every morning, he'd take a moment to stand in the doorway, looking at the carefully curated shelves, feeling a profound sense of pride and joy. It was his space, created by his own hands, without compromise or judgment. I also recall an older gentleman who, after his children had grown up and moved away, found himself with an entire house to fill. The void of their absence could have been overwhelming, but instead, he found solace in making the home his own. He slowly began to fill the empty rooms with the things that had always brought him joy, his beloved antiques, family heirlooms that carried sentimental value, and bookshelves overflowing with his favorite novels. Each object told a story, a chapter of his life that was written through years of careful accumulation. His house became more than just a place to live. It was a gallery that reflected his life's journey, a carefully curated environment that spoke to his history, his dreams, and his cherished memories. This process of transforming his environment gave him an immense sense of fulfillment. There was something so profound about seeing how a space could evolve to represent not just one's history but also one's deepest desires. These stories touch me deeply because they remind me of how essential it is to have a space that reflects who we truly are, especially as we grow older. In the hustle of life, we sometimes forget that the spaces we inhabit can be a sanctuary, a place where we can find peace, joy, and a deep sense of belonging. Living alone doesn't just offer control over our environment. It grants us the freedom to nurture ourselves in the most intimate way possible. 5. Financial independence. When it comes to aging and living alone, many people may initially think the costs will be overwhelming. But what if I told you that, in reality, living alone can be one of the most empowering and liberating steps you can take as you grow older? The beauty of living independently, especially as a man in his later years, is the profound sense of financial freedom it offers. No longer burdened by the need to support a household or care for others, you are granted full reign over your financial destiny. This shift gives you the rare gift of control. Control over your money, your spending habits, and most importantly, your peace of mind. You can make choices based on what truly matters to you, whether it's downsizing to a more manageable space, relocating to a quieter, more affordable area, or simply reworking your budget to cater to your passions and needs. I remember a conversation I had with an old colleague who, after retiring, took the bold step of selling his spacious family home and downsizing to a charming little apartment in the heart of the city. At first, he was understandably apprehensive. The idea of living alone, managing all his finances without the cushion of a shared household income, felt daunting. But what unfolded was nothing short of transformative. As he settled into his new, simpler life, he quickly realized how much financial freedom it offered him. The relief of no longer having to maintain a sprawling property was immense. No more costly repairs, no more lawn to mow, no more worrying about the endless bills that came with such a large home. With all of that behind him, he discovered that his finances were not just sustainable. They were flourishing. His monthly budget became a tool for self-care, allowing him to indulge in some of his long-neglected passions. One of the first things he did was purchase a camera, something he had always dreamed of doing but never had the time or resources for. Photography became his new obsession, a beautiful and fulfilling way to express himself. It was as if living alone had unlocked a hidden well of possibilities for him. Another powerful story that resonated with me came from a retiree on a forum I frequent. He shared how he decided to downsize from a large home to a much smaller one. At first, he hesitated, unsure of how it would impact his lifestyle. But as he adjusted to his new, more manageable living situation, he found that not only did it significantly reduce his living expenses, but it also opened doors to experiences he'd always dreamed of having. The extra savings allowed him to explore the world in ways he never thought possible. For his 70th birthday, he took a solo trip to Europe, something that had always been on his bucket list but seemed impossible when he was weighed down by the responsibilities of a larger household. He remarked how that trip was a life-changing experience, one that never would have happened if he hadn't decided to let go of the past and embrace a simpler, more financially free lifestyle. These stories, of courage, transformation, and personal growth, serve as powerful reminders that the path to financial independence isn't just about saving money. It's about reclaiming control over your life. It's about making choices that bring you closer to the life you want to live, not the life you feel obligated to live. I truly believe that, for older men especially, the freedom that comes with managing your finances independently can be one of the most rewarding gifts of all. 6. Improved mental health. Living alone as an older man can profoundly benefit your mental health in ways that many might not initially expect. For me, and countless others, solitude becomes not just a way of life but a pathway to healing. In the whirlwind of life, where we often juggle obligations, family responsibilities, and the weight of societal expectations, stepping back from all the noise can be an extraordinary gift. It's an opportunity to rediscover peace, an opportunity to reconnect with the stillness within ourselves that's too often drowned out by the clamor of daily life. When we live alone, we're no longer forced to compromise our personal space, to meet others' demands, or to adhere to the pressures of what people think we should be doing. The world outside can be chaotic, but inside our homes, we can carve out a sanctuary of calm where we can focus on what truly nurtures our soul. Whether it's through meditation, where every breath becomes a conscious act of self-care, or exercise, which invigorates both body and mind, living alone provides the freedom to pursue what genuinely brings joy. It becomes a space to reconnect with our deepest desires, without fear of judgment or interruption. I'll never forget a particularly difficult period in my life when everything felt like it was spiraling out of control. The overwhelming weight of responsibilities and personal struggles left me feeling exhausted and emotionally drained. During that time, I found that the quiet solitude of my home became my sanctuary. My home, which I had once viewed as just a place to live, turned into a space where I could truly be. There were days when I could only find solace by stepping outside for a walk. The cool evening air would wrap around me, offering the clarity my mind desperately needed. I would wander for hours, allowing the rhythm of my steps to calm my racing thoughts. Nature, in its simplicity and quiet beauty, became the therapy I didn't even realize I needed. That peaceful solitude allowed me to process my emotions in a way I never could in a noisy, crowded environment. There was no rush, no external pressure to act a certain way. It was just me, my thoughts, and the comforting embrace of silence. In those moments, I found my strength. And I know now that, far from being an isolating experience, living alone gave me the time and space to become more in tune with who I am. It allowed me to heal, to reflect, and to move forward with greater clarity. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I'm not alone in this realization. I stumbled upon a post from a man in his late 60s on Reddit, and his words deeply resonated with me. He spoke about how living alone allowed him to manage his anxiety in a way that he hadn't been able to in years. With no one around to constantly disrupt his peace, he finally created a life where his mental health was the priority. He began practicing yoga in his living room, a practice that not only strengthened his body but also gave him mental clarity. He took long walks in nature, letting the world around him help release the tension that had built up over the years. And, most powerfully of all, he learned to enjoy his own company. A lesson I believe many of us struggle to learn. In the stillness of solitude, he found a peace he had never known before, and his experience is a reminder that sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is to permit ourselves to be alone, to breathe, and to heal. Living alone as we age can be one of the most empowering decisions we can make. It's a chance to rebuild our mental well-being in a way that feels true to ourselves, without the distractions or obligations of others. The solitude we once feared can become our greatest ally, helping us discover strength, resilience, and most importantly, peace. 7. Strengthened relationships. Living alone, as counterintuitive as it may seem, can deeply enrich your relationships with others. At first, one might imagine that solitude leads to isolation and emotional distance, but it often does quite the opposite. When you're not constantly surrounded by others, when you're not juggling endless conversations or obligations, you begin to truly appreciate the significance of human connection. The interactions you have become more precious, more deliberate. In my own life, I've come to realize how living alone has allowed me to grow closer to the people I care about. It's as if the quiet moments spent on my serve as a reminder of just how important it is to nurture the relationships that truly matter. There's something profound about no longer taking relationships for granted. I remember how, before I embraced living on my own, I sometimes saw friends and family out of mere obligation, as if it was just something I had to do. But once I had the space to reflect, the meaning of time with loved ones transformed. I began to genuinely look forward to our interactions, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. The conversations we had grew deeper, touching on things I had never shared before, and I could feel the authenticity of those exchanges grow stronger. I now treasure those moments in ways I hadn't realized before. Every shared laugh, every thoughtful word, feels like a gift, something to be savored. There's a powerful story that illustrates this transformation, one that I find deeply moving. A man, after spending several years living alone, shared that his relationship with his children had blossomed in unexpected ways. The constant tension that sometimes arose from cohabiting had slowly dissipated, and what remained was a newfound warmth. His visits with them, once marked by frustration or a sense of duty, became something he anticipated with a full heart. And in turn, his children noticed the shift too. The atmosphere of his home was now one of calm and openness, and they appreciated that they could come and simply be, without the pressures of day-to-day living. It wasn't just the space he had created, it was the depth of the connection he had nurtured in that space, a testament to how solitude can teach us to value, even more, the people we love. In these moments of quiet, I've realized that it's not about the quantity of time spent with others, but the quality. We often rush through life, distracted by noise and busyness, but it's in those rare, meaningful conversations that we find the deepest connection. Living alone has taught me that we don't need to be surrounded by people all the time to experience love, connection, and deep, enriching relationships. Sometimes, it's the moments of solitude that allow us to truly see the value of the people around us. 8. Independence and confidence. Living alone as an older man can be one of the most empowering experiences. A profound journey that nurtures your independence and builds your confidence. As you navigate the quiet solitude, you realize that you are the master of your own life, making every decision, tackling every challenge, and embracing each day on your terms. There's something incredibly freeing about this autonomy, something that becomes more precious as the years go by. It isn't just about being alone. It's about standing tall, learning to trust your abilities, and knowing deep down that you are enough, just as you are. I remember, with vivid clarity, the first time I faced a problem around the house that I couldn't simply pass off to someone else. There was a leaky faucet that had been dripping for days, driving me crazy. In the past, I would have called a handyman without a second thought, relying on someone else to fix the problem. But this time, there was no one to call, no one to turn to. I was alone. And as unsettling as it initially felt, there was also a strange sense of resolve within me, a pull toward doing it myself. I took a deep breath, reminding myself that I was capable. I watched a few online tutorials, my fingers trembling with uncertainty, but also a spark of determination. With each step I took, I felt my confidence grow, even if it was just in small increments. Finally, after some trial and error, the faucet was fixed. The feeling of accomplishment I had in that moment wasn't just about the repair. It was a quiet yet powerful reminder that I could handle whatever life threw my way. No longer was I dependent on others for even the smallest tasks. I was capable, and that realization gave me a surge of pride that I hadn't experienced in years. I've read stories of other men, just like me, who found themselves alone in their later years. One man in his 70s shared his journey in an online forum, talking about the sense of fear and uncertainty he felt when his wife passed away. At first, the thought of living alone seemed overwhelming, and the weight of his loneliness was almost too much to bear. But something remarkable happened as time passed. He began to take control of his home and his life. He learned to cook his meals, managed his finances with newfound wisdom, and even became adept at handling small repairs around the house. This transformation from uncertainty to self-sufficiency was not just about learning new skills, it was about rediscovering his strength. The pride he felt in this newfound independence was like a quiet, gentle victory that he had been craving for so long. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The truth is, living alone as an older man isn't always easy, but it's in those moments of struggle that we find our deepest strength. It's when you push through the discomfort and face the challenges head-on that you realize how truly capable you are. The independence you gain isn't just about managing a home or making decisions on your own. It's about reclaiming your worth, about proving to yourself that you are more than capable of navigating this chapter of your life with confidence and grace. 9. Rediscovery of simple pleasures. Living alone, especially as we grow older, offers us a remarkable opportunity to rediscover the simple pleasures in life. Those little joys that often get overshadowed by the demands and distractions of our daily routines. Without the noise and chaos of others, we find ourselves in a quiet space where we can fully embrace the things that bring us true happiness. I've always been someone who enjoys the peace of the morning, but it wasn't until I started living alone that I truly began to appreciate the quiet beauty of those early hours. There's something almost magical about waking up to the soft light of dawn, with no rush, no obligations, just the sound of birds singing and the world slowly coming to life around you. It's in these still moments that I've discovered the joy of simple, yet profoundly satisfying rituals. I've always wanted to garden, but life had always been too busy. Too many commitments, too much going on. But now, I have the space and time to cultivate my little garden in the backyard, something that has brought me a sense of fulfillment I never thought possible. The process of planting, watering, and watching the plants grow has become more than just a hobby. It's a source of deep joy. Each day, I wake up early, pour myself a cup of tea, and step outside to tend to my little patch of earth. There's something so grounding about it, so life-affirming. The first rays of sunlight feel like a gift, warming both my skin and my soul. One of the most powerful moments came when I stumbled across an online video of an older man sharing his daily routine of tending to his garden. The way he spoke about his connection to his plants, the satisfaction he derived from nurturing them and watching them grow, resonated deeply with me. He described how living alone had allowed him to dedicate hours each day to his garden, a practice he found not only therapeutic but deeply fulfilling. He spoke with such gratitude, with such reverence, about the beauty he had created in his own life. And I realized then how precious this time truly is. How special it is to cultivate something, whether it's a garden or an inner peace, with the quiet certainty that you've made it yours. Living alone, particularly in later years, is not merely about solitude. It's about embracing the freedom to live life on your terms, without compromise, without the pressure of others' expectations. It's a chance to rediscover who you are beneath the layers of roles you've played over the years. It's about finding a sense of peace that can only be found when you are no longer distracted by the noise of the world. The financial independence, the autonomy to make decisions for yourself, and the space to grow and reflect. These are the gifts of living alone. For me, it has become a path to self-discovery, to pursuing the things I've always longed to do, and to building a life that feels entirely my own. The joy I find in my mornings, in my garden, and my own company, has shown me that living alone can be one of the most beautiful, fulfilling choices one can make. It offers us the chance to reconnect with the simple joys of life, nurture ourselves and our passions, and create a life full of meaning. We are no longer bound by the expectations of others or the busyness of life. In the quiet solitude, we find a freedom that allows us to truly thrive. As we've explored today, living alone in our later years isn't just about solitude. It's about the freedom to rediscover ourselves, embrace new passions, and cultivate the simple joys that life has to offer. Whether it's the peace of the morning, the satisfaction of tending to a garden, or the chance to live life on your terms, there is so much beauty and fulfillment to be found in this phase of life. So, what have you learned from today's video? Has it inspired you to embrace the small, yet profound pleasures of living alone? Or perhaps it sparked a new perspective on how you want to approach your journey in the years ahead. I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below with one thing you've learned today and how you plan to bring it into your own life. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, take care and live intentionally.